I'm Clever Ghoul, but you can call me Nikki. Welcome back to the channel. This week we're doing something that is perfect for spring. Now when it comes to spring, I love bringing flowers home. I know, florals for spring, groundbreaking. But really, I think it is the time of the year when we all start to bring more nature inside. I really can't stand when I bring flowers home and they either all go to the edge of the vase and they're all spread out, or I buy too many and maybe they're too bunched, and even if I spread them out in different vases, I'm just having the trouble of everything sitting where I want it to. So today, I'm gonna teach you how to avoid that by making some flower frogs. Let's get into it. You're gonna need some polymer clay. I used white Sculpey because I wanted a neutral frog so the flowers stayed the main point of focus. But if you wanna choose a different color here, be my guest. Some clay tools, specifically a knife to cut the polymer clay. If you want some other tools here, you can, but really that's all you're gonna need. To make the holes on these frogs, I ended up using a few different paintbrush sizes. So whether it's a pen or a paintbrush, or if you even have really tiny cookie cutters that can make holes, that works even better. But whatever you have on hand, you can probably use to make a hole. You're also gonna need to have your vase on hand and a ruler so you can measure the diameter of the vase and make sure that you're rolling out the perfect size of frog. And speaking of rolling out, I think it's really good to have some plastic wrap and a rolling pin on hand for that part of the project. I also used a trick with chopsticks here, which I'll teach you in the video. So if you have any lying around from when you got takeout, that's a great idea too.
We're also gonna wanna make sure that these frogs are waterproof after they bake. So you're gonna get some polyurethane gloss varnish and a brush.
And lastly, if you wanna make fun shapes, I suggest getting some cookie cutters involved. Why not? First, I cut off about 1 1/4 inch of polymer clay and started rolling it in my hands to warm it up. You really wanna get this clay warm with your hands so that you're able to roll it out easier. If it's cold when you get into it, it's gonna be almost impossible to roll out. Then I measured the top of my vase with the ruler, took some chopsticks and taped them down. Now the reason I did this is so that when I put the ball of clay down and I start to roll it out, the rolling pin will ride along those chopsticks and keep an even thickness around the clay. This is also a really good tip too for baking if you're making a bunch of cookies. Get something flat on either side that your rolling pin can rest on, and it'll create an even thickness throughout the layer. Then I took the ball of clay, placed it down, put plastic wrap on top of it, and began to roll it out. Next, I peeled off the piece of clay, put it on top of the vase, flipped that upside down, and then began to trim the piece of clay, making it slightly bigger than the outer diameter of the vase so that the frog won't fall in when it's in use. Next, using some different size paintbrushes, I started to make some holes in the frog. I used a larger sponge brush handle and a larger paintbrush to do this. I actually recommend making your holes a little bit bigger than I did here, maybe around 1/2 inch if doable, because really a lot of flowers like daisies or roses may have thicker stems than you realize, so when you go to use the frog later, you want to make sure you can actually get flowers in there. Of course, smaller filler flowers like baby's breath will be able to get in a hole like that, but you just want them big enough to make sure that your main flowers that you're featuring will be able to be placed inside the frog. Now you're just gonna punch through holes here. There will be some excess on the back, and I just kind of flattened it. No one is going to see the backside of these frogs, and I don't really care. There may even be some texture on my frogs on top of them, but once again, they're gonna be hidden by a bunch of beautiful flowers. No one's looking at them. So if you really wanna smooth them out, go for it. Otherwise, I say let it go. For the second frog, I knew I wanted to use a cookie cutter, and I decided on a star shape. So I did the same process as before with the measuring and rolling out, but I also took a large star-shaped cookie cutter and put it over the opening of my mason jar that I'm using as a second vase, and made sure that it just went slightly over so that once again, it won't fall into the opening of the vase. Once the star was complete, I added holes the same way I had before, and then I baked both frogs per the package instructions. Now to make sure that these frogs stay functional, we need them to be waterproof. The last step we're going to do is apply a polyurethane gloss varnish on top of these. I did a thin coat on the top of each frog, let it sit, did a light coat on the back, let it sit, and then added an additional coat on each side and left them to dry per the label instructions. And then after that, they were all done, which means it's time for the reveal. Here they are. I love how these both turned out. I really like how the star shape turned out, especially because when it's on top of the vase, there's large gaps on the side of the vase from where the corners of the star are, and you can put more flowers in there. I really like that it has the option to use the holes that we punched in and the openings on the side to add more flowers. I like a really fun arrangement where I use one hue in different shades, different flowers, and try and make it a little more visually interesting with highs and lows, and these frogs are great for allowing me to do that. Now I feel like any bouquet I set up at home is gonna look extra professional and look extra nice and not just be super squished or super spread out, which is really exciting, and I'm really glad that I did this. Now I'm really curious, what is your favorite flower and what is your favorite way to arrange flowers? Do you like a big tall vase? Do you like a bunch of little vases? I would love to hear, so let me know in the comments. Thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye!